Imagine this. You're playing your favorite game so hard that your keyboard and mouse explode, absolutely demolishing your hands. Now you need to get a surgery. That costs so much money. After you get the surgery, you have basically no more money, but you have conveniently enough to buy 3 keybinds. You may ask, how will you be able to play your favorite game, quote-unquote ULTRAKILL, with just 3 buttons? Well, don't worry, because I'm here to help. Today, we'll be playing ULTRAKILL with only 3 buttons. But first, the rules. I'll be starting with a full loadout. This is to make the challenge more interesting. I will be skipping the tutorial because the tutorial forces you to use many buttons that we don't need for this. The buttons that I'm going to use are Control, F, and M1, aka the slide key, punch key, and shoot key. The start of this challenge is pretty simple. Just slide around and then shoot the enemy. Sometimes parry a projectile as well. Glass is the first major obstacle. No, seriously. Without a powerful enough weapon, we can't even beat the first level. This is where our choice of weaponry comes in. Since we chose the shotgun, we've saved the jump and alt fire key, purely by shotgun parrying. Be careful not to break the glass under you though, because you wouldn't be able to progress the level. In the large room made up of glass panels, we can slide off a piece of geometry to avoid shotgun parrying, thereby saving health. The very next room is hard to get past, but shotgun parrying at your feet at the right angle will get you to the next room. And then for the Maurice fight, just parry his projectiles and shoot him in the face. Don't forget to unequip the piercer to keep your weapon freshness permanently full. Other than that, O2 is simple, having no major platforming rooms. In O-3, you don't actually have to kill most of the enemies, since a lot of the rooms are skippable. Source Machine is challenging, but the best way to beat him is by sliding away and getting close to him when you need health. Don't forget to exploit his parry windows. I don't have much to say about O-4, since it's only composed of 3 arenas, one of which is completely skippable. The glass in the cooling chambers is actually breakable, with the shotgun though. In O-5 you can't make it to the serve arena with the shotgun. Instead, you'll need to swap to the malicious railgun to explode yourself over the hell energy, landing you in front of the arena. Since every boss level offers a terminal before the arena, you can switch to any weapon of your choosing. Most of the server's attacks are fine to deal with, except their slam. You can only avoid this by shotgun parrying the ground to avoid it, but that still damages you. The only use it has is avoiding the hard damage, since harming yourself doesn't cause hard damage. If you get yourself stuck in the corner of the room, congratulations, you won this fight. You might think 1-1 is easy, but we can't right click, which means we can't flick a coin into the well. The skulls are the reason punch keys is essential. Other than that, 1-1 is simple, and the drones are quite easy to deal with. I have to admit, I was stuck in the first room of 2-2, mainly because of how tricky the angles are to get right, and the amount of health I was losing, but eventually I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. There is a way that you can skip all the platforming. Equip any version of the jackhammer, slide into an enemy, and hit them with the jackhammer while the gauge is on yellow. You should trigger a hit stop. While this is happening, reposition yourself so you're boosted directly in front of the door to the next room. Other than that, this level's fine. You will have to play through some of this level with the jackhammer, but when you make it to the first room, you can then switch back to any weapon. 1-3 isn't very complex, since you can slide to the blue skull easily. The beam in the middle of the skull room completely stops your momentum and takes you back to the start of the level. You can get to this room fast because all the room's doors are open. Once you have the skull, you can go kill the hideous mat, and even bring the soap if you want to. In 1-4, you can use the Malvarel cannon at the right angle to boost yourself up at the platform next to the glass. Then you can break the glass and get in the arena. You can also go for the skulls if you'd like to. Just don't go for the one underneath the floorboards because it's hard to get out. Once you're in the V2 arena, switch to any weapon of your choice. I switched to the rocket launcher because it's kind of funny to fight V2 with the rocket launcher. But yeah, just fight him and then you'll be done. Two-1 is the level with the most platforming, So there's a lot to explain explosive jumping wise. So I'm just going to play the level in full and let you visually learn from it, because I'm not going to explain all that. Two-2 isn't very difficult and doesn't change that much. Obviously, you can shoot the power boxes with a parry with an explosive to explode them from a long range. But the one note that you should take is when you get the electric rail cannon, you're gonna have to go back all the way to the beginning to unequip it, because you obviously can't switch weapons. Two-3 is mostly comprised of arenas, so it's not too tricky to understand. There are some difficult platforming areas, but it's not too difficult. What is a risk though is falling in the water. If you fall in the water, it's going to be quite difficult as well, and I just restart level when I fall in there. 2-4 is quite long, but when you get to the true fight, it's not tricky. But you should probably equip the rocket launcher at the beginning. Beginning as in when you fight the hand. The hand is much like a Cerberus, though, so it has two attacks that are easy to dodge, you know, the one when it slams the left wall and the one where it slams the right wall, causing shockwave. But the one where it slams the ground, you're going to have to look down and rocket jump to avoid that. Yeah, you should also be far away, so then you have more time to react. Other than that, you just fight him as per usual. Obviously, dodge and stuff, and switch to weapons. Like, thankfully it's a boss arena, so we don't need to worry about weaponry. 3-1. Honestly, not much to say here. In Gluttony, most of the walls are slidable. Like, since the geometry is kind of weird, you can slide like on the walls and you can kind of just climb them, basically. But yeah, it's more, this level's more of like a gauntlet, you know, full of challenges. It kind of made me realize there's two kinds of rooms in ULTRAKILL base. Like, there's the one platforming one where it's like more platformy and less fighty, and there's one where it's more fighty and less platformy. And that's what this level is mainly. And like, even in some of the earlier stages, the levels I have to talk about the most are the ones with more platforming and where the rooms are trickier to get around. But then when it's an arena-based room, when it's an arena-based level, and there's like mostly arenas, there's not much to talk about because you can just slide around and punch stuff. The Gabriel fight would be a lot more hard if there wasn't a skip. So yeah, switch to the saw blade launcher and shoot the eye down and you'll be right to the fight. Obviously switch back to any weapon you'd like. Gabriel's not that difficult to fight, just really abuse sliding to your advantage. Like, people underestimate sliding so much, like, it's so useful against a boss fight. Like, because you don't use it in the cyberground, you obviously underestimate it, but then when it's an actual fight, in a closed space, then you need to like use it. Keep in mind, everything Gabriel throws at you is parryable. Yeah, that's like one of the most important things. But yeah, you know, and then you beat Gabriel.